I have good news for my clients. It is to remind you that you're not wired for times like this. This is Tyson Ray, financial advisor at Form Wealth Advisors, where we exist to help make life better for our clients and those in our community. So for the logistics, the markets touched all new lows in the month of October before rallying into the end of the month, actually finishing the month up. Okay, so how are we not wired for this? Well, first and foremost, I spent some of my time in October doing some continuing education that I am required to do, and I was reminded a little bit about how the human brain works. So let me enlighten you on how you work. First, what I want to acknowledge is that many people right now, especially our clients, are thinking with their limbic part of their brain. And what is that? That's the part of your brain where you have your behavior and your emotional responses to things. It's a flight or fight response. It's also the part of your brain that you make decisions now with, because they all have consequences and you have to decide one way or the other, what are you going to do? And the problem with making investment decisions with this part of your brain, these investments that you're making decisions on now are really designed for the rest of your life and shouldn't be touched right now. But now think about it for a minute. Think about right now. You're using your limbic brain. Now, think about the future. And what I need to tell you is if you start thinking about the future in years, or think out next year or the following year or a decade from now, what you need to quickly realize is that your limbic system stops working and you start thinking with an entirely different part of your brain, and you actually can't think into the future and think in the present at the same time. The part of your brain that thinks into your future is that frontal lobe. Your frontal lobe specifically can help you plan and organize and help you monitor things. So the reason you're not wired for this is because the markets are a future pricing mechanism. What I mean by that is they're discounting to the present everything we know in humanity about the future. And right now in the present, we can think about all kinds of things in the future that are bad. I understand how you feel, but I want you to think with a different part of your brain. Let's start with the CNN fear and greed gauge. Yes, this wonderful little gauge is telling us right now there is extreme fear everywhere, and you're probably feeling some of that. Don't worry, the American Association of Individual Investors, that gauge is currently telling us that we haven't seen this extreme level of fear since like 1987. Almost since the inception of it. Okay, that's individuals. What about advisors? The institutional investment advisors' bullish versus bearish ratios are showing most financial advisors are in panic mode. So let's pause right there. What happens in the markets when the advisors are panicking and their clients are fearful? You get a lot of selling. Let's talk about just consumers. Consumer confidence is at almost a record low going back to World War II. Small businesses and CEOs. Again, we have never seen so many executives talk about a recession that hasn't happened yet. I can add inflation being at a 40-year high. If everything we're worried about doesn't end up happening, what do you think the market's going to do? Probably recover. So we're not wired for 40-year inflation, and we're not wired for losing money in bonds or 7% interest rates for mortgage. We're not wired for this Federal Reserve continuing to raise interest rates or worrying about the Ukraine war or what Putin might do or what North Korea is doing. These are all things that are concerning, and it's causing people to react and use their limbic brains to make emotional decisions in fight or flight mode. And in the meantime, why we're not wired for this is the market is discounting all that information into today's prices. And this is my point. What if everything that's bad doesn't end up happening? It might be that the market is overreacting right now because I think humans are overreacting right now. Because the long-term investments that are pricing in everything about the future are being sold by people panicking, making decisions about the present. And the reason people are making decisions about the present is they're deciding right now at this point in time, they can't take it anymore. And what they're failing to realize, if they would think with a different part of their brain, time doesn't stop. And your need to continue to live off of your assets or just to enjoy a quality of life, that's not going to stop, because you're going to wake up tomorrow and you're going to want to live the same life you have right now. So for those of you of our clients that are fully invested, we're riding this out. We're going to preserve as much as we can the cash that you need to live off of, but I have no desire to sell when everybody else is not wired for this. For those of you that are accumulating, enjoy the opportunity to buy things on sale everywhere. For those of you that aren't our clients, I would tell you, if your advisor is scared or panicking, if you're concerned and those concerns aren't being properly addressed, reach out and let's have a conversation. The purpose of these up or down videos is to try and bring a little understanding about what you should be doing with your long-term investments based on what is going on. And so this is Tyson Ray, financial advisor at Forum Wealth Advisors, where we exist to help make life better for our clients and those in our community.